Good evening. Tonight I want to talk very briefly about the role that faith plays in our salvation. And, if you have Bibles, you can open them up to Ephesians 2. Paul talked about this. One of the things that Paul was driving home with the early church, and I think he still has to drive it home with us, is that we don't earn our own salvation. That none of us is capable of earning or deserving salvation in Jesus Christ. And the only thing that we can bring to the table, I say this often this way, I hope it's correct, but I believe it. The only thing we bring to the table is faith. It is our faith. And we can bring this, but that's it. We can't live lives that are good enough. We can't do things that are good enough, give enough money. I mean, there are all kinds of human measurements that we put on any relationship, and certainly our relationship with Christ. And Paul said in Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, "For it is by grace you've been saved through faith. This is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." So Paul immediately says you can't earn or work your way into heaven. We North Americans, we Americans, America being the land of the free, the home of the brave. There was a day when I was a kid when you had to earn your way. That day seems to be going by. But it seems to me there's a lot of entitlement now in society, and in American society especially, in Western civilization. There's a lot of entitlement. And there's a how can I say, downplay the idea that if you work hard, you'll be rewarded for that. And we see that kind of thing going away. That will be the downfall of America, by the way, in my mind. That will cause kind of like a tooth that rots from the inside out. That's what will do us in if we don't reclaim the idea that hard work is a key. Tom Brokaw, probably 30, 40 years ago now, wrote a book called The Greatest Generation, and it was about that generation of adults in World War II that sacrificed for, you want to talk about making America great, that group made America great. They sacrificed, they believed in a common goal, they worked for it. Even on the home front, families sacrificed. As a nation, we pulled together and we did something really great for the world, just to be honest with you. And since that time, self-sacrifice has gone by the wayside. It's given way to more of a selfishness that we all want to get what we want to get for us. And I'll be honest with you, it's not a good look for us. Now, this is not about America. This is about us as Christians. We were taught, I was taught that you earn your way. So it was hard to take that and then walk into a faith relationship with Christ and understand that I can't earn my way to a higher level of heaven, if you will. That I've got to have faith that Christ is enough to cover my sins. Now, Paul says that's not all that we need. But we've got to have faith. We've got to just believe that God is doing this and is capable of doing this. He said, not by works, so that no one can boast, in verse 9. And what Paul is clearly saying there is you cannot earn your way in or work your way into heaven. But in verse 10, he said, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." So Paul didn't say, hey, you don't need to worry about anything, just have faith. He said that we were created to do these works that God created for us. And I think only through a faith relationship in Christ will we even discover what these works are. In fact, in Romans 12, 1 and 2, Paul kind of made that clear. But it's faith. It's all about faith. This coming Sunday, we're going to start a little mini series, little mini sermon series about Abraham. And I invite you to be there if you can, and if you can't, tune in and just kind of listen to some of these thoughts that we have about faith. And about Abram, because we're going to start in Genesis 12, and his name was Abram back then, and about how Abram had faith, and he followed God, and he trusted God completely. We've got to get to the place where we trust God completely. Does God still speak to his people? I say yes. You tune in and find out. Hope you have a great week.